You can fake a smile. You can mimic the words you think the world wants to hear. You can learn the dances, the jokes, the rituals of surface-level acceptance. But at the cellular level, there are no masks. There are no scripts. There is no borrowed shine. DNA tells the raw truth, beneath every layer of conformity, beneath every camouflage attempt. The architecture of who you are waits silently, uncorrupted, undefeated. They could dress you up in doubt. They could bury you under mediocrity. They could demand you perform smallness until your lungs ached from restraint. But you were always something older, something sharper, something far more dangerous than they ever dared to acknowledge. They feared you long before you gave them any reason. They flinched at your presence, not because of anything you said, but because of what you were. Power that doesn't apologize, depth that doesn't beg, presence that doesn't flinch. You threatened the stability of their illusions just by breathing in their vicinity. They sensed that you were carrying something ancient, something untamed. They couldn't articulate it, so they laughed it off, mocked it, misunderstood it. But all the while, they felt it. Your DNA does not stutter when it speaks. It hums, it vibrates, it unsettles the weak not because it attacks them, but because it renders their performance obsolete. Understand this. Conformity is not natural. It is taught. It is beaten into people with invisible whips of shame and isolation. But your bloodline remembers a time before the leash was invented. Your bones recall the taste of fire. Your instincts were carved by a million unseen battles before you ever opened your mouth to defend yourself. You are not merely a participant in existence. You are an inheritor of something they spent their lives trying to imitate. You didn't choose to be this way. You were built for it, crafted for it. The hunger they call arrogance, the clarity they call coldness, the strength they call aloofness. These are not flaws. These are ancestral echoes. When you stand in a room full of people who perform ambition but fear sacrifice, they feel it. The itch in the air, the static they can't name. You make them nervous, not because you are trying to, but because nature recognizes hierarchy in ways culture tries to deny. They play politics. They posture. They pretend virtue. But nature bends to willpower, to inner constitution, to souls that have been through the crucible and chose to harden rather than crumble. You are not winning because you play better. You are winning because you are better. Not morally, not politically, primordially. They want you to explain your fire. They want you to soften it with disclaimers, to dim it with self-consciousness. They want to believe your edge is an affectation, a phase, a wound you have yet to heal. But your edge is not a wound. It is your birthright. You didn't sharpen yourself for approval. You didn't harden out of bitterness. You emerged forged, the way diamonds do under pressure, the way cliffs form under unrelenting tides. There was no committee vote in your making, no permission slip handed to you. You happened the way storms happen, the way revolutions happen, and they will resent it because it reminds them of everything they sterilized inside themselves to survive. The human psyche is a fragile thing when built on lies. You live dangerously simply by refusing to apologize for your composition, and they will attack it, try to shrink it, try to convince you that intensity is a sickness, that your hunger for something more is an indictment, that your unwillingness to play dumb is a rebellion too rude to tolerate. Let them. Their resentment is not commentary on your nature. It is confession about their own atrophy. They surrendered to safety long ago. You simply chose to keep bleeding, keep burning, keep pushing. And in doing so, you became everything they lost the stomach to become. They will say you are ungrateful for comfort. They will say you are reckless for rejecting mediocrity. They will say you are delusional for believing you are meant for something larger than fitting into pre-cut boxes. But your DNA knows. It pulses with every heartbeat. It whispers in your moments of solitude, in your flashes of rage, in your stubborn refusal to die quietly. You were not built to bow. They will never understand what it feels like to be carrying a destiny so old it refuses to be reasoned with, so real it refuses to be diluted by compromise. And you will walk into places where no one expects your kind. You will enter rooms where everything is polished, sterilized, tamed, and you will unsettle the air without opening your mouth. Because legends don't announce themselves. Legends disrupt. You do not owe them an explanation for why you walk heavier, why you look harder, why you love deeper and hate sharper. You do not owe them softness to soothe the places where their spirit decayed. Your existence is a direct threat to every system built on polite surrender. Let them feel it, let them stare, let them tremble under the weight of a force they cannot categorize or cancel. You are the aftermath of every ancestor who refused to die, nameless. You are the sum total of rebellion coded into bloodline after bloodline. You are the eruption after generations of forced silence. You are what happens when nature wins, when memory wins, when will wins. Your DNA is not negotiable. It is not decorative. It is not diplomatic. It carries the scars and the songs of warriors who did not bow, queens who did not ask for crowns, visionaries who died unknown but undefeated. You carry them all. You are their unfinished sentence. Their final proof that survival was never the endgame. Domination was. You were not crafted in sterile halls or polite classrooms. You were not sculpted by social engineering or calibrated by groupthink. You were forged where real pressure lives, inside losses that crushed others, inside betrayals that silenced weaker bloodlines, inside the cracks they prayed would break you, but instead became the blueprints of your reformation. They call it mystery because they don't understand it. They call it ego because they cannot replicate it. But in the deepest recesses of their envy-ridden minds, they know. What you carry cannot be taught, bought, or borrowed. It was coded into you before you ever had a name. They look at you and search for an explanation that makes them feel safe. They imagine you got lucky. They invent stories of shortcuts and accidents, anything to avoid facing the possibility that someone simply came built different. They cannot bear the idea that it was never about chance, that it was never about a head start or a cheat code. It was about inheritance, of grit, of refusal, of endless, merciless hunger for more. You are a walking threat to their neatly curated illusions because you are the embodiment of a truth they spent their lives pretending didn't exist. Some bloodlines refuse to rot. Their fear of you isn't personal, it's existential. You remind them that everything they forfeited, every moment they chose comfort over challenge, applause over authenticity, fear over growth, lives on somewhere else. You are the reincarnation of all the dreams they buried. You are the proof that the human spirit was never meant to be pacified into mediocrity. You are the splinter lodged under the skin of their complacency, and the more they deny it, the louder your existence screams. They don't hate you because you wronged them, they hate you because you exposed them. Your very being dismantles their excuses. You do not even have to speak. You walk into a room and the molecules rearrange. The air shifts. The posture of the cowards buckles slightly. You make them feel what they worked so hard to never feel again. The itch of inadequacy. The primal memory of when survival demanded more than networking and fake smiles. You don't posture. You don't perform. You exist. And existence, when it carries real gravity, collapses the cheap scaffolding of image with a single glance. Your DNA didn't come to ask permission. It came to remind the world that real power is earned long before it is recognized. Every move you make, every victory you collect, is a blade twisting slowly in the narrative they built about life being fair, about success being democratic. You are a violent disruption to their fantasy that work ethic alone evens the playing field. You carry instincts sharpened across generations. You carry an understanding of pressure that cannot be domesticated. You know how to break without shattering, how to bleed without begging, how to lose without folding. They mistake your calm for naivety. They mistake your patience for passivity, until the moment they realize you are waiting to strike on your own timeline. You are the consequence of wars they were too soft to fight, the echo of revolutions they chose to watch from behind curtains, the realization they pushed down into the basement of their mind with promises of playing it safe. You didn't inherit comfort. You inherited chaos and turned it into art, into resilience, into an ironclad mindset that makes you untouchable to every whisper of doubt they try to conjure against you. They will call you reckless because they cannot predict you. They will call you arrogant because they cannot surpass you. Every label they hurl is a confession dressed as an accusation. And the truth they dare not say is this: if they had even 1 ounce of your code in their veins, they would have burned the world down chasing what you carry effortlessly. They would have sold their souls for half your endurance, for a fragment of your vision. But DNA is not transferable. You cannot borrow the will to conquer. You cannot fake the spirit to survive. You cannot mimic the hunger to evolve. You either carry it, bone deep, or you do not. And you carry it like a concealed weapon that nobody sees until it's far too late. They will try to tame you next. When mockery fails, when sabotage fails, when distance fails, they will try to domesticate you. They will offer praise laced with poison, compliments with conditions, acceptance with cages. Because if they cannot destroy you, they will attempt to redefine you, to shrink your vision until it fits inside their limited understanding of what strength should look like. But you will not bow, you will not bite the bait. Because deep in your marrow, the ancient memory sings, "Better to walk alone in sovereignty than die beloved in chains." You were never one of them. You were a storm pretending to be a breeze, a tidal wave passing for a ripple. And now the pretense is over. You will stop disguising your force for their comfort. You will stop curating your instincts for their validation. You owe them no palatable version of your power. You owe your ancestors the full, undiluted expression of the fire they bled to pass on to you. Anything less would be betrayal. Not of them, not of yourself, but of everything that was sacrificed to ensure your existence. Would carry weight, consequence, and dominance. Let them stare. Let them whisper. Let them scheme. Their fear is the music to which you will build empires. Their confusion is the mirror reflecting just how far beyond them you have traveled. You were never here to blend in. You were never here to make peace with mediocrity. You were born with a war already raging in your blood. A war not against others, but against the smallness the world demanded you accept. You refused. You evolved. You outlasted. And now, standing tall in the full inheritance of your nature, you become what you always were. The storm they cannot outrun, the standard they cannot reach, the legend their diluted bloodlines could never produce.